Hi everyone, welcome to Finds of Yesterday. I've been wanting to do a cleaning video for you guys for so long now that today's the day. I'm finally going to do it. I got out all my cleaning supplies that I would potentially use on cleaning my jewelry. Not saying I use these all the time or every time, but I do have a lot of different variations of how I clean jewelry. And what got me inspired to do this was I picked this up at a flea market, and it's full of filthy, dirty jewelry. I paid $8 for this old, cruddy, rusted tin full of old, dirty jewelry, and I thought, what a good time to experiment and see what works and what doesn't work. And I will be giving you tips and tricks on how I clean some jewelry. So first we're going to go through some of the supplies that I use, and then I'm going to clean and show you some other things with some newer jewelry that I have, newer vintage jewelry, and let's just jump in. So, okay, first of all, the one thing I pick up probably first is just a dry silver cleaning cloth. If I see these out at an estate sale or yard sale or something, I will pick them up. This one is full of little cloths like this, and they're perfect for cleaning inside little grooves of jewelry. Here's another variation of that. And this one I found this in a silver, it was at an estate sale, and they were selling silverware, and they had a bunch of these, and I thought, well, shoot, I'm gonna pick these up for cleaning jewelry. Look how filthy dirty that is. And yeah, it probably still has some life to it. You still see some good spots. And you clean it first with this side, and then you shine it with the other side. That's what I like about that. I don't dig this out too often unless I'm trying to shine up a silver piece that I want to look shiny. We deal a lot with vintage jewelry, so I don't tend to clean silver jewelry till it shines. And it's only for new silver pieces that I might use that for. These are also good for cleaning. They're dry cloths. You can pick these up at Walmart, at Amazon, or anywhere. They're throwaway ones, and they're just a little small cloth for cleaning in tight spaces. This is my little jar of vinegar. It's starting to look a little cloudy. I used it quite a bit. Got my extra bowl here. This is just some water in case I need that. I always use Q-tips. These I always have on hand. Definitely something. This is something that most people would go, no, don't use that. I do use this for certain things, and I'll show you some things. I have a couple old toothbrushes. They need to be soft bristled, and I use these almost every time I'm cleaning. And then Simichrome polish is potentially good for cleaning silver and maybe even gold if you want to shine it up. But I usually use this just to test for Bakelite, and we'll show you how to do that. Brasso is another one. If you have a bracelet or something that you want to look shiny, you could use Brasso. I hardly ever use it because my stuff, again, is vintage and I don't want it to be shiny. Tarnix, this is great for getting silver back to its original silver color. Alcohol, just rubbing alcohol is great for, it dries fast, so it won't get underneath and in the grooves of your individual pieces. Of course, we have paper towels. Always have tons of paper towels on hand. And then this is the last thing. It's a sonic cleaner. I know people are probably curious about this. I do have it. It looks almost brand new because I hardly ever use it. It's good for cleaning eyeglasses. They say it can scratch glass, so I don't tend to use it a whole lot. I've never had any problem with it scratching my eyeglass lenses, but some people say it will. And you got to be careful if you put multiple pieces in it at one time, because it vibrates real fast and it can possibly scratch your jewelry as well. So I'm not going to be using that today. I'm just going to be using the other items. I did pull out a couple pieces of my own jewelry I'm getting ready to list, and they look like they could use some polishing. These are potentially Bakelite pieces, so I'm going to test them. And I got a couple other pieces here. So I'm going to get a little bit of this out of the way. So I laid down a paper towel first, and let's start with the Bakelite. So I'm going to get my Simichrome polish out and a Q-tip, and I'm just going to put a tiny bit. All you need is the tiniest bit on there. You don't even have to squeeze it. You can just tap the top. And I have a little bit of a paper towel here handy, and I always do it on the inside in case it pulls color off. So you take it's like a pink color. It comes out pink. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. It probably looks white. And I just kind of dab it on a little bit, and then you rub. You rub and rub and rub and rub. Now see how it came out yellow? It's kind of tobacco colored. Let's see if I can turn my light down a little bit. See how that is like old cigarette tobacco? That is a good sign that it is Bakelite. Now I'm going to use the other side while we got it out and just try this orange one and see if it's Bakelite. You can kind of tell Bakelite. Well, let's get this off of here first. I want to get the excess Simichrome off. It does kind of shine it up some too, but Bakelite kind of has a dull look to it. It's not a real shiny plastic at all. It does have a little bit of a glow, but not real shiny. Okay, I got some on this end, and I'm going to rub it on the inside. You kind of give it a good rub. And this one came out yellow as well. And you can see it did not take any of the orange. It didn't because the color on Bakelite is all the way through, so you're not going to mess it up. So them two pieces are Bakelite. If they weren't, it would stay pink. And I don't tend to use Simichrome for too much other than testing. Okay, let's get them out of the way. Now I'm going to pull some. Let's try some of the easier pieces first. So I got this nice little, it's almost like a morning brooch, black rhinestones, and on the back it has a little bit of this white gick. I don't know what this is. It looks like it could be the start of verdigris. Verdigris is usually green. It has some earrings with it, and it looks like they have a little bit of verdigris on them as well. So we're going to try to clean that off. This one doesn't seem to have too much going on. It's just got some color loss to it, like the silver's starting to come through. So what I would do with this one is I'd take a Q-tip. My first thing I would do is dip the Q-tip in a little bit of vinegar. I don't saturate it. I kind of wring it out. I wring it out in the, like on the wall of the bowl, so it's not like flowing on. And then I just rub it on there. I don't think I hardly got any. I rub it on there, and the more I look at it, it almost looks like paint, because it is not verdigris. I can see that now. And always have a paper towel handy. Let's get that vinegar off. They say you should clean it with water afterwards. Since it's not coming off with vinegar, it might take a little bit longer. I have to look close. It does have a little bit of gick to it. So I'm going to use my handy dandy ice pick, And I'm just going to try to scrape some of that out because it's down in the grooves. It's feeling like it's like glue or like cake, like dried up cake. Somebody could have been wearing this and dropped some of their food on it, and it stayed on there for many years. Who knows? But now that I've got it kind of worked off of there, I'm going to go back to my Q-tip. A lot of times I just dab it on the paper towel so it's not so concentrated. And I will get that off of there. At least that ice pick, that point usually breaks up the whatever you got on it. So I'm going to rub it a little bit more because it seems like it's wanting to stay. It's coming off some, but let's try it a little bit more. Sometimes you're going to need to use a little more effort on some of these, but this one seems to be looking pretty good. It's on the back side, so it's not that big of a deal. As you can see, you might be able to see a little bit left on there, but it looks a lot better. Now these rhinestones on the front, what would we do with them? They still sparkle. You could do a couple things. You could use where you dabbed the vinegar on the paper towel. You can just kind of like take that and shine up the tops of the rhinestones. The one thing about rhinestones is you do not want to dip them totally in water or vinegar or any kind of liquid, because they are going to get that liquid underneath of the rhinestones, and it will ruin the foil on the back, and then the rhinestones will start looking bad over the years. You might not see it immediately, but it's going to. Boy, that shined it up a lot. And I have leftover paper towel on here. I have to go back and get a little bit of that off. But now it's really sparkling. It looks really great. The other thing I would do is maybe pour rubbing alcohol in a little bowl. Just a little bit is all you need to cover the bottom. You can try that too. See, that's all I need is just enough to get the tip of the Q-tip wet and just polish up the rhinestones. Make them look shiny. I would do this a little bit slower, but you get the point. And then let's get it dry. Actually, you don't really have to do this because alcohol dries pretty fast. So this one is ready to go, I believe. And I'll do the earring later. The verdigris is going to be a little bit harder. It's going to be a little bit tougher to work on because that's thicker. If it didn't have rhinestones in it, I would also use this. This is just a jewelry cleaner, and it's for gold, diamonds, and precious stones. That's not foil backed. It has this little holder in it. I'm sure you guys have used these over the years cleaning your necklaces and stuff. But if I had a piece that did not have any kind of rhinestones in it, possibly like this, I could throw that in there. This one has enamel on it. You do not want to put enamel pieces in this jewelry cleaner because this is really concentrated. Enamel or faux pearls. Faux pearls are usually coated with the color, so that color comes off very easily, and this will definitely take that color off them pearls. So this, to me, it's got some darker tarnish on some of this gold here, and it's on just about every piece. And I don't know if I would even sell this as is, just because it's pretty rough looking. So it would really take a lot of scrubbing for me to get that to look shiny again, and it may just be that the color is off of it. I don't know. So in that circumstance, I'm going to use this. I'm going to put it in there, And this is really more for newer jewelry. It's made for newer jewelry. So vintage, you got to be careful with the vintage stuff. I'm putting it in there. It may take some of the enamel off, but at this point, it's going in a junk lot if I don't. I'm going to let that sit over there for a little bit. It says 30 seconds, so I'm going to move on to the next piece for now. This is a watch fob, and it is pretty shiny already, and it's not an older one. If this was an older one, I would definitely, like from the early 1900s, I would definitely not put it in any kind of cleaner. But since it's pretty shiny the way it is, I don't think I'm even going to clean it anymore. It has a little bit of dirt or grime, not really grime, it's just a little bit of wear to it. And I think that's perfect for the age. It's probably 70s maybe. So I'm going to let that one alone. Now something like this necklace, sometimes these are tough. This is acrylic, and these are easy to clean. You can take a paper towel, dab it in your water, and just wipe the beads off. And I tend to do that down every bead, but I take a little bit more time than I'm doing. Sometimes you have a little bit of glue showing on the sides. This one looks pretty good, but if it had glue showing here, I would lightly, it's not really lightly, you can't really lightly get the glue off, but you can take this and on its side, I tend to like kind of rub it. I don't use the point and scratch it. That's not how I use this. I will try to scrape it on its side and try not to damage the stone or the acrylic bead. Here's a little bit of dirt. It's just, you just kind of like loosen that up, and then it's easier to get off. Here's a little bit of glue. Sometimes that glue is really dried on really hard, and it's hard to get off. So that's something I would do. You can kind of see it on the back side. So I'm not going to bother with the back side. That doesn't show anyway. Now if this chain on here needed cleaned, which it could use a nice little cleaning, you could either take it and dip it in here for 30 seconds and leave the rest of it out because it's going to mess with the glue. I don't want to dip this inside there because it will loosen the glue up. Unless you want to get them beads off, then you can dip it in here and it might help. So when this is done, which the other one should be, I'm going to take this out for a minute and get that out of there. I put it on a paper towel because it absorbs all that jewelry cleaner. I'm going to stick that one in there while we're doing this. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to use my toothbrush and I'm going to try scrubbing it. And I scrub it on the paper towel. I try not to scrub on the enamel side. This is hard for me to do without getting my hand in the way of the camera. But I will just kind of scrub it and get that one side clean. I can already see how it's cleaner. And then I turn it over and I will clean the back side. Let's see if I can get closer. So I'm just brushing it with the toothbrush. And this one should be clean and sparkly and ready to go. I think I'm going to dip this in water to get that jewelry cleaner off. Let's get a new paper towel. And I'm going to dry it off real quick. Now some people would possibly take a blow dryer and blow dry it lightly. Keep the blow dryer far away from it so it doesn't like damage it in any way with the heat. And for lack of time, I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to let this air dry on a towel. but I'm going to do it behind me because I want to keep this space clean. Okay, next let's pull, I have a ring here too, but let's pull some of these dirty pieces out and see what we can do. This first one I grabbed is missing 1, 2, 3, 4 red stones in it. Is it worth cleaning? No, probably not, unless I get down to the bottom and I find the 4 stones, which I doubt that that's going to happen. Let's see. Let me pull a different piece out. This one's interesting. This is a belt buckle, and my light's going on and off. So it's missing tons and tons of rhinestones, but let's just try to clean this and see what happens. Let me get this one out of there. Get that jewelry cleaner off. It had something on it because the paper towel has some dirty stuff on it now. So that looks a little shinier. That's pretty nice. Let's do the other side. It's not really that bad. It really didn't need much of a cleaning. So let's go back to this one. This is kind of what I do. I do multiple pieces at one time. Now this one, since it has rhinestones in it, I can't put a whole lot of liquid on the top, so I can't dip it in Tarnex or Brasso. I can't do any of that. So it's either going to be a dry brush, or I can take my toothbrush and dip it in the water, in the vinegar, or the alcohol. In this circumstance, I'm going to do alcohol since it dries fast, and I kind of dab it off on my paper towel, and then I brush it. And I'm already seeing the sparkle of the rhinestones come out. And this really isn't going to be a piece I sell, so I'm not too worried about ruining it. But in any circumstance, you wouldn't want to ruin a piece if it's got all its rhinestones. And this one is so filthy. I'm going to clean the back too. Oh, see, now I scrubbed too hard and two rhinestones fell out. So I got a little bag here handy. I'm going to throw these rhinestones in this bag just to keep them safe. But look how dirty that was. And you can put it on the paper towel and scrub it. And it is shining up the back nicely. Sometimes you don't want to clean these old pieces like this. You want them to be nice and show all the patina from all the years that they've been worn. But in this circumstance, I just want to show you what you could do to clean them. So here's what it ended up looking like. The other circumstance you could have done with this is just use a shine up little rag or whatever you want to call them, cloth. Alright, I'm going to grab a different one. This flamingo's got my attention. It is missing a bunch of rhinestones as well. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rhinestones missing in this one as well. Oh, let's get this guy out of there. I'm going to dip it in water, just the end, and get it clean, dried off. And this one should be good to go. I don't do this with every piece. I think I just do it when I feel like there's dirt that would make it sell better if it had a little bit of sheen to it. See how it looks, the gold looks so much more glossy. It's just really, it's just better. Okay, so back to the flamingo. You could, if this had all the rhinestones, you could start with this, but actually this is going to get filthy real fast, and I don't want that. So I'm going to take my dry toothbrush this time. Put it on the paper towel. There is a little bit of dampness on this paper towel, but that's okay. And I'm just going to get the dirt off of it, the major dirt off of it. Now I got to be softer when I'm going over the rhinestones because I don't want to pull them out. This is like pulling some of the metal coating off just by lightly doing this. So you have to be careful on these older pieces because they are a lot of times plated, and some of this is just like the coating is kind of peeling off. I don't want to shine this up. I don't want it to look new. But look at the back side, how filthy that is. And it's actually got some glue spot or some kind of gick on it. And it's still filthy dirty on the back. I would not sell it that dirty. I am going to try to clean it up with this dry process. Man, you can see, I clean my brush off once in a while. You can just see the dirt going on the paper towel. And I can feel it just from holding it in my hand, how dirty this is. I'm doing it a little bit harder on the back, and what I think I'm going to do is put a little bit of water on it, and that'll help get that dirt off the back. Just a little bit of dampness. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to take the bristles of the toothbrush and kind of dig them in between the grooves. So it's getting the sides of the pieces. It already looks a little bit better. It's by no means perfect. I'm looking for a name on it. It does have made in the USA. Now I can see that where I couldn't see that before. And it has a star on it. So it has a maker's mark. And I always have to take my glasses. I have to lift my glasses up. It's like a magnifying glass, and I could see right, where is it again? Right here. It says made in the USA. And you can still see how dirty it is over here, and it is a little bit dirty. I'm going to clean it a little bit more. I think I'm going to use vinegar this time. Just the tip of my toothbrush in the vinegar, and then I dab it off and try to get that dirt off. It's just the dirt I'm trying to get off, not the patina. Getting a little bit better, and I think this will help sell it. Now somebody can actually see what the back looks like, and you can see there's a star mark on it right here. So this one's kind of an interesting one, but again, it's missing so many rhinestones. I'll probably just put it in with a lot of other missing rhinestone, old, early 1900 pieces. But it's a pretty cool piece. That's so much better, just with a little bit of dampness. And I'm going to dry it off, make sure it's all... Oh, here's another rhinestone. It's a clear one. It came out of the last one. Them are good for replacing in other pieces you may have. See, I'm just taking a towel and just dabbing it. Okay, that one is done. Let's see if I can find something different. Here we go. Here's another piece. This one's interesting. Early 1900, has a C clasp, and it looks bent, but it's an old metal flower piece layered. It kind of gives me Miriam Haskell vibes, but it's hard to say. It does have this top layer. You can see there's this layer right here is over top another layer, and I would have to look really close to see if these were wired on, if all these leaves flowers were wired on, it might possibly be Miriam. But there's other makers out there that made stuff like this. So this one, as you can see, has tons of verdigris. It is all metal. So first I analyze it and I think, what can I do with this? Am I going to be able to get this clean? Am I going to be able to get this tarnish off? If I get the tarnish off, is it going to have a color underneath that's like copper? You're going to see the undertones because it looks like it might have been gold plated at one time. It's nasty. Nobody's going to want it with this verdigris on it. So we got to get that off. And while we're doing that, we're going to figure out if it can be cleaned up enough to save it. So we could use, I could use Brasso on it, but I don't want it shiny, shiny, shiny. I need to get the verdigris off, so I'm going to try to use vinegar. That's my first thought on this one. So I can use a Q-tip first, and then I'm going to dip it in the vinegar. And this, since it doesn't have any rhinestones, I may just get it pretty saturated just because I need to let it work on that verdigris. I might actually just put some vinegar on this and set it down and move on to another one first, just to let that work on that, because that verdigris is tough. It's starting to tarnish it. That's what it's doing. So okay, now I've got it pretty saturated on all the verdigris that I see. It's pulling off a little bit of that, and I think I'm going to let that sit a minute and pull out another piece, see what we can find. This one's really cool. It looks like a little Nemo piece, but it is so full of dirt. You see that? It's like all of that. It's like gick inside of there. I don't know what else to call it. It's gick. But it's got, see all them little holes? Then were all filled with rhinestones at one time. But the base, the structure is still intact. The pin is still on the back. And let's see if it's functioning. It does twist and comes out, so it's still functioning. The pin is really crooked, but I can straighten that with a special tool. And it might have a L in, which means Little Nemo, on the back. I'd have to look really close because usually it's really small, and it's a L/N. That's how they always labeled theirs. So what I want to do is I want to get the dirt off of this. So I can start by using just a little bit of a damp brush. I can use water, I can use vinegar. I'm not using jewelry cleaner on this because I do not want this patina that's about 100 years old taken off of this. The vinegar could do that too, so I want to just lightly use vinegar. See, I dabbed it off on the paper towel, and now my brush is a little bit damp, and I'm going to scrub. I've been trying to do it in between the rhinestones more, because I don't want the rhinestones falling out. We don't need any more to fall out. So I'm going to keep scrubbing this. And every once in a while I'm going to go back and clean my brush out. Vinegar is good for cleaning your brush out too. See the difference in the half I did? And alcohol would probably work on this too. Vinegar is such a good cleaning solution. This one would be so pretty if all the rhinestones were there. It's just starting to sparkle. It's like fireworks. It's got some pretty color in it. These were probably, oh, I was going to say Czech glass, but maybe not. I think that was a little before Czech time. This is filthy. My toothbrush is getting filthy. No, I'm not going to use it on myself afterwards. So it's not shining it up, like I said, with like it would like bringing it back to its original silver. We don't want that anyway. But it's getting that dirt off of there. Again, this piece, if I used this dry cloth on it, it would definitely take the, it would definitely get the cloth filthy dirty up front. There's some thicker spots of dirt that I'm working on here. And even the sides. But you can see in the camera how all them rhinestones are just like fireworks. They're sparkling. The vinegar is shining them up as well. But it's a shame that it's missing so many. Again, this might get thrown in a lot with the flamingo and the missing rhinestone pieces. Somebody may want to make them new again, refresh them, fill them with rhinestones. The back actually looks pretty good now. I am going to just go over it once, I think. Just kind of get dust and dirt off of it. It's mostly like dirty. Okay, now I'm going to dry it off again, just with a dry paper towel. And I'll straighten that pin later. Let's take a look at it now. It's pretty. It's a shame. You see it up close. Most people and collectors do not want the patina taken off. I can't stress that enough. And now you can see all the little grooves and the patterns and the design it has to it. This one has a roll clasp. Yeah, it's a roll clasp on this side. And it's a nice little piece. Okay, what else? This one, I just want to show you quickly. I'm not going to do anything with it. It has terrible verdigris on it. And when you have verdigris in a box with other pieces, the other pieces are going to get it. It grows. So you definitely want to get the verdigris off as soon as you find a piece that has it. These have 2 pearl ends on them, and they are filthy dirty. I just want to put them, I'm just going to put them in water. This piece is probably going to get thrown away if the pearls don't come clean. So what I'm going to do is just take my bowl of water and I'm going to dip it just down to the metal just to get it some water on it. It may take the coating off. Let me zoom back out so you can see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to take a paper towel and just dab it. Look at that filthy paper towel. It could be taking the color off or it could be taking dirt off. In this case, I'm thinking it's just taking the dirt off. It actually shined up pretty good. And I'm wondering if I might be able to salvage this piece. It has a little bit of wear right there, and glue is showing up to this point. And if I take that glue off, the rest of the color is going to come off. It has this indent there, and some of the colors coming off there. But that's still something I could probably disclose and be all right with. I'm going to take the other side and just do the same thing, dipping it in the water just to get it a little bit wet. And I'm dabbing the paper towel on. I'm not wiping it because the wiping might make the color come off. There's one real bad dirt spot. That one I have to rub just a little bit. It's coming off. The color's staying on. I'm sure you can't see that very well. Actually, I'm having to use a little bit more force. I'm going to dip a Q-tip into a paper, or dip Q-tip into water and then kind of rub on it. See if I can get them hard spots off. They're fading, so it's working. As long as I don't do it too much and then the color comes off. Might be good on this one if I can get that verdigris off. We need to look back at the old piece that had all the verdigris on, see how that one's going. It's allowing me to rub a little harder because it's not coming off. The color's not coming off, but the little marks are coming off. Yay, I think I got it pretty clean. Well, I'm happy about that. Them pearls are fine now, except the little indent here and the dirt. Now I got to get the metal clean in between, and that's got some green verdigris on it, as you see. So I'm going to set that to the side and go back to this other verdigris piece. Look how it's looking now. Let's get the vinegar soaked Q-tip on it and try to rub it some. See what it's doing. It's coming off. I'm doing good with it. It's coming off. So that letting it sit on there, I think, helped. It gave it a little bit of time to absorb some of that. There is still some hard verdigris on it. And since it's metal, I'm able to scrub it a little bit more. Okay, that Q-tip's done for. I'm going to use my toothbrush now and dip it in the vinegar. I'm going to set this down and kind of scrub on that verdigris since I think we're all right on it. And then I might as well do the rest of the piece. I'll spin around. Some of it's gold and some is real dull. I don't know that I'm going to be able to salvage this piece because it's not in the best of shape. I don't want to get it too shiny, so the side that's still gold, I'm going to stop working on. I'm going to keep working on this verdigris side, see what happens with it. Go back and clean my toothbrush, go get some more. Actually, it's shining up pretty good. Trying to get down in the little grooves. It is showing the copper underneath. This flower kind of spins. Let me turn it and do the other side real quick. Let's take a close look at it now. See how it's still got some on there? Sometimes that verdigris is just tough. And we still have the whole back that has some, which I can start working on that with it's kind of a damp toothbrush. Some people don't want to work this hard on cleaning a piece. I love salvaging these old pieces. If I can make them decent again, I love the fact that they will be saved, especially from the landfill. Some people might use these for Christmas trees to make, or use them in art projects. There's still some verdigris on that tip right here. Sometimes I have to use my little handy dandy tool, and I will try to scrape at that verdigris with the side of it, just to loosen it up, and then I go back to my toothbrush and try to scrape it off again. And that's kind of my process. Some of it, you can kind of feel it with your fingernail if it's if it's still there. If it feels rough, it's still there. Yeah, it needs a little bit more work. As you can see, there's some. But I'm going to quit on this one for now. And I may show you at the end when I'm finished with it how it turned out. But this one, I don't really want to put this in water to clean it off because it's going to get water in the layers and it's just going to start rotting from the inside out. So I'm going to try to keep it as dry on the outside as possible, or on the inside as possible. And I'm going to just dry this off. Actually, I'm going to get that vinegar off of it so it doesn't keep working, because if you leave vinegar on a piece, it's going to just keep wearing and wearing down the color on it. If you ever put a penny in a bowl of water just to shine them up, yeah, if you let it in there, it'd start deteriorating that penny. But overall, this piece looks pretty good, except for that one flower, which, again, I'll work on it. Here's a pot metal piece, and I think it looks pretty good. It just needs kind of a cleanup. Get a little bit cleaner paper towel. Okay, what am I going to use on this? I think I'm going to just use the vinegar again with the toothbrush, because I just want to get the dirt off of it. If I get too much around that rhinestone, too much liquid, and it gets down under there, it's going to make that rhinestone turn dark. We don't want that. I'm turning it over and just getting the dirt off the back. Let's take paper towel, dab it off. I think that one's as good as it's going to get. It's all pot metal. It's pretty inexpensive metal that it's made with. But overall, it's the way it looks. It's just how it looks. It's an old piece. Here's another one full of rhinestones. This one almost looks like a coral piece. C-O-R-O. I don't see it. I don't see a mark on the back. It's missing tons of rhinestones. This is kind of the same as the flamingo one, so I'm going to pass on that one for now. Here's a nice metal one. This one has a little bit of shine to it. It has nice patina, but not real shiny. It's kind of an antiqued gold. So what I think I would do with this one is just get the dirt off of it. And here again, you can use a toothbrush or you can use your cloth. First, I'm going to use the toothbrush and just wipe off the excess dirt that it has accumulated. Maybe use this wet paper towel and just clean it all off. And then let's use this dry cloth just to, I'm not going to use this too much because I can see it's shining it up pretty easily. That one is just about clean already. This piece has a roll clasp, so it's probably from the 30s or 40s. It's pressed metal. See, it's all pressed out, dome-shaped. The pin is bent somewhat. But yeah, it's safety clasp on it, so it's a little bit newer. This one I could probably sell by itself. The other one item I have is Windex. And vinegar is an option on a Q-tip. But Windex is also another option. Here we got a silver piece that is pretty shiny. It's not marked 925 or sterling. It's just a silver piece. It could definitely be sterling. Kind of looks like it to me. But since it's already shiny, I'm just going to make it nice and shiny. I'm just going to see what it does in the jewelry cleaner. While that's working, here's another piece I found. I think this one's cool, but this is so filthy dirty. What do you think? Miriam Haskell or not? Probably not. Let me know if you think it is. I'm curious. It's dirty, dirty, dirty. This one I don't want to shine up totally, but it does have grime on it, and I want to get some of that grime because when I pick it up, I can feel how dirty. Look at my fingertips are so dirty already from all this dirty jewelry. I just want to get that dirt off of it. So what I'm using, look at that. What I'm using is that old paper towel I was wiping my toothbrush off on and just cleaning these individually. They look like they could use a good cleanup. And again, I don't want to make them perfect. I just want to get that layer of grime off of it. If the person that buys it wants to clean it up thoroughly, that's their choice. They've bought it and they can do what they want with it. But I want to make it presentable for them. So I'm just cleaning the dirt off of it so that when they pick it up, they're like, ew. So they don't think I didn't even, like I had it sitting in the bottom of my trash. And I am pulling some of the spots off of it as well. I'm not making it immaculate. I actually think this is Bakelite. The more I look at this, the more I clean this. We're going to test it for Bakelite. If it is, that would be great. When you find something that's Bakelite, you can date it. Helps date it too. It's from the early 1900s. Like all the way up to 1950, they used Bakelite. Okay, so I think I got most of the little dangle things cleaned off. Kind of have to be careful because these threads, these synthetic threads here, could be a little bit fragile from being so old. They're almost 80 years old. So I'm going to clean off the green tree leaves just with a light damp paper towel. Get down in the grooves a little bit. Get some of that dirt out of there. This tin was so filthy dirty. In the back you can see the pin is definitely rusted. So you know it was exposed to moisture. That's what causes that metal is rusting. Look at that. Actually, I think I'm going to use Q-tip with some vinegar on it. Just try to get that pin clasp cleaned off of rust. I bet it doesn't work. Oh, it's a C clasp, which tells me it's early. That pin is still rusty, but it looks a little bit better. Let's test it for Bakelite. Okay, get my Simichrome. Got my Simichrome polish. And again, I'm going to just put a little dab, squeezing it to the top and putting a little dab on it. Let's try the green first. The one thing about this is you got to make sure the piece is clean. Otherwise you're just pulling dirt off of it and it's going to look yellow. Just like that. That is dirt. So I really need to make sure I got it a spot good and clean first. Okay, I'm going to try this again with the other side of the Q-tip. Back to the same spot I just cleaned, and let's try it again. It looks like it's pulling green off. That's what it's doing. So that is not Bakelite. Tells me it's probably just acrylic. But let's try these little yellowish green things. Yellowish green. Yellow, I wasn't thinking. Yellow mustard colored looking dangles. Actually, it's dirt too. It's pulling dirt off. I'm going to clean this one up a little bit better. Try that again. Okay, here we go. What do you think? Is it Bakelite or not? It is not. I'm really surprised about that. It looks like it is Bakelite. But it's still pink, so it is not. I'll show you the difference then between acrylic and Bakelite. So here's the difference. See how close that looks? And the color looks like it goes all the way through. So there's really, I mean, you can look at a piece and say, I think it's Bakelite, but until you test it, it's really hard to tell. Okay, that piece is all clean. I'm ready to sell that one just as is, even with the rusty pin on it. I'll just disclose that. They can work at cleaning it if they want it cleaned better, and they can work at cleaning these if they want that patina off. But that piece will be sold. Oop, I forgot about my silver bird in here. Let's get him out. Okay, just pulled him out. He's all wet and shiny. Let's clean him up and see what he does. Yep, he didn't get real sparkly. He still has some roughness to him, but he is definitely shinier. And sometimes these clasps, these roll clasps, get stuck. Like the older they are, they get stuck. You can actually take, on a piece like this, what I do is I spray Windex. I'll put it on a paper towel, and I'll just spray some Windex on that roll clasp and let it sit a little bit, and it will like loosen it up. It loosens grime up, I guess, and it's still tight, but it's like coming loose now that it's been in the jewelry cleaner. But yeah, that bird's ready to go. He could probably use a polishing. Oh, he's still got something on him. No, as I look closer, he does have some verdigris on him. I didn't realize that at first. There, you can see it a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it back in the jewelry cleaner and let that verdigris get worked off. Here's another one. This one's like a celluloid pin. It's real thin and it feels brittle, like if you held it too tight it would crack. But that's an interesting looking pin. I don't think I really need to do a whole lot with this. This roll clasp works well. The only thing I will do is I'll use this damp cloth, since it is enamel and it looks like it's coated. I'm just going to use this damp cloth and get any dirt that's on it off. And I should be able to sell that. Make sure that there's no broken tips off of it or anything missing off of it. It's ready to go then. It's another old piece. I knew I could pull some pieces out of here. Like I said, I paid $8 for this basket. I thought if I could get maybe 2 pieces, that would pay for it. That one's ready to go. I've already got 3 pieces for sure that I'll sell individually. Here's another one that is celluloid. That one needs a good cleanup. Since this is all plastic, it does have the metal clasp on the back, and it is a C class, so that's early 1900s. I would almost throw this in the sonic cleaner because there's really nothing that could happen. I could use Windex on this, I could use vinegar. Alcohol might take the color off of it. I'd be a little bit concerned about that. I could even throw it in water, which I think that's what I'm gonna do. Just to get it wet and get the dirt off of it. It's really filthy right now. We'll see how that comes out. This little guy is a ram. My friend Carrie would love this one. He looks like he's got some dirt in his face here, and I'm not sure if that is supposed to be like two-tone like that, but I really think it's just dirt. And this is a Raza piece, so it is named. It does have a brand, so I am going to try to shine it up a little bit. The horns look pretty shiny, somewhat shiny. So I'm going to use a toothbrush on this one. Now I could use, this is like a plastic, so I could use water on this or vinegar on this. I'm going to avoid the alcohol because I don't know if alcohol would take the color out of it. And probably vinegar is the route I'm going, because then I can clean the metal right along with it. Now I just dipped my toothbrush in the vinegar just a little bit and dabbed off the excess on the paper towel, which I don't think I got enough on it. And then I'm going to scrub on him, see if any of these darker spots come out. Like I said, it could be part of the coloring of this little guy, which would be fine, but I don't believe it is supposed to be like that. And there's some deep down in there, so I'm going to use the bristles of the toothbrush and kind of push it down in there. And that did help. He's a filthy little guy. He's been rooting in the mud. Let's see. Then I'm going to clean it off again. Clean my toothbrush off again, and then go back in and dab it off and do the horns. I don't think I want to get it too shiny, so I'm going to stop right there. I just kind of felt like I needed to get the dirt off of it. And going in with the little pick, and I think, like, I want to see if this dark spot, I don't know if you can even see this little dark spot, if it comes out, because it doesn't look like it belongs there. And actually, it's staying in there. I think it actually is how it's supposed to look. So I'm going to give it one more scrub, and then I'm going to get some water on it and clean the vinegar off of it, and then dry them off. He's good to go. It was a quick rinse. What else? So this looks like Sarah Coventry or Trifari. This piece is in pretty good shape. It does have some grime in the inside that I think could be cleaned up some. This leaf right here has some dirt on it. Let's see if we can make them sparkle, because it is a brushed gold, so that's gonna keep it kind of like a matte color. But I could probably throw this in a sonic cleaner if I wanted. I could throw it in, actually I'm gonna stop. I could put it in the water as long as we get it dry, because it doesn't have a whole lot of layers to it. I got this guy back out. Let's get the toothbrush on him and clean him up. He is coming clean already. He had some gick coming out of the middle. He's going to look so much better. Get that away from the water. they stopped making celluloid because it's flammable. So this one's going to be like 1940s or earlier. And it has this C-type clasp, which doesn't necessarily mean it's early 1900s, but it's probably still 1930s, maybe 1920s. It has a lot of, it feels like textured, and I don't think that stuff's going to come off. I think it's just kind of like almost like melted into the plastic, so I'm going to leave that alone. But I did get the grease and grime off of it, and I didn't discolor it in any way just by putting it in water, so this one's good to go too. Okay, going back to this one. We've got some dirt, just needs, I think, some vinegar dabbed off and cleaned. Again, I could throw this in water and probably get a good clean in, but the bead might fall out of the center. It looks like it's glued in. Yeah. Get in some of these grooves on the back and get the dust out of it. And this is what I would do on a rhinestone one, just clean the dust off of them before I would sell it. This one, I don't think some of that is going to come off the way it looks. So I'm going to use a little bit of the damp paper towel, and I'm going to try wiping it. That seems to be helping it. What's happening though is it looks like it's a yellow enamel now that I look closer. So if I rub too hard, it looks like it wants to pull that enamel off. So I don't want to do that too much, I don't think. See how this paper towel is turning a little bit yellow, so it's taking some of the color off. I think you get the idea of what I would do if I was just doing something as simple as this one has rhinestones in it. I don't want to dip it. I would just take my silver cleaning cloth and just rub it. And if you can see, you get to a point where you can just like polish it shiny. Like first it gets the dirt off, and then you can really get down deep and dirty, and it just starts shining it up with this. This kind of got a texture to it. And that one is about done. This one is labeled. Let's see what it is. This one says Jewelry by Jordan. It's on this round cartouche underneath the pin. Jewelry by Jordan. Never heard of that one. I'll have to look that one up. But it's a nice little leaf. Has a little fold over end. It's cute. That one I probably sell separate since it's got a brand name to it. Oh, here's a pretty one. I wonder if this is BSK. It's missing a marquee AB rhinestone. That's going to be a little bit harder to find. It looks like it's rounded off too, because the other one in here is rounded off. So that might be harder to find. Now, a piece like this, I would just take, if it had all the rhinestones and I'm going to sell it, I just took my toothbrush. One other thing I could do is take Windex, spray it on the toothbrush bristles. I dab it off, and I just shine up the rhinestones. I'm pressing lightly, very lightly. I don't want the liquid to get down under the rhinestones, as I've said before. And now you should see how it sparkles. Take a dry paper towel and just dab it and get any excess off. And it's shiny, shiny, shiny. That didn't take much, but again, missing the rhinestone. Here's an interesting one. I'll show you some of the other pieces that are in here. Missing a rhinestone over here. Here's a little orchid. That one wouldn't take much to clean. Here's another one. These are like, remind me of pot metal pieces. Missing rhinestones. I've had this one several times in different colors. Here's a nice piece. And here's what the back looks like. This piece, I think I'm going to work on. It does have a lot of tarnish, as you can see there. I think this is... I almost thought that was some kind of... I think it's just the turquoise design, but it felt like it's got grime on it, and I don't want to put any kind of chemicals on the stone like Windex or alcohol. I would just take water, dab it on the paper towel like this. I just dipped my paper towel in the water to see if I can get any dirt off that stone. Look how dirty that is. This piece is really filthy. And it's bezel set in here. So it's a nice piece. It looks like it's handmade, like it was hand set in there. So it's pretty much clean. Now I can take, gotta think about this one. I'd probably take my toothbrush and use alcohol, or not alcohol, vinegar. Dab it off. Try not to get it on the stone. And work on the leaves. Oh, look how that's shining up. Makes me wonder if it's silver. It doesn't look like silver to me, but it shined up pretty fast. Now I want to take my other toothbrush and put water on it. Get it cleaned out, because I don't know what was in it on it earlier. And maybe get some of that vinegar back off of it so it doesn't keep working on it. Let's find a dry part of the towel. And that got the leaves to pop out and got the grime off of it. As you can see, this side compared to this side, and this has some verdigris on it, so I might have to work a little bit harder with vinegar on this side. See how that one just, it didn't shine it up totally, but it gave it like a cleaner look, and this side is just filthy looking. So that's what I talk about when I say cleaning. I don't mean make it sparkle. And the back looks pretty good. It's pretty good shape. It just has a film of dirt on it. Look at my dirty fingers. So again, I'm going to just wipe that off and work on the other side too. I'll do that later. I'm going to show you some other pieces. Here's a nice leaf. That one should be fairly easy to clean, and it looks like it's in good shape. This one is pot metal. You can see it's like old mixed up metals poured into a mold, and it was kind of cheaper metals, whatever they had available. So that's where they got pot metal. This one is going to go in a scrap lot. The stones are all yellowed, and it's not in the best shape. This one is missing a cameo or something. This looks like pot metal as well, and it is just full of tarnish. That one just gets thrown in scrap, or even, I don't know, thrown away. This one, the stones are yellowed. It's a really good old piece. That's a shame. Somebody could take this and put all new stones in it, and it'd be a great piece again. But it is an old, I think that's pot metal. An old pot metal heart. This one's missing a stone. But see, these green stones might be harder to come by, so I might even keep some of these old ones for the stones to reuse. Oh, look at that piece. This one is in such terrible disrepair. But what a great piece it was at one time. It's heavy. It's almost like it's pot metal that was gold plated, because look at this right here. You can see where it's all just coating, all the coating's coming off. Another little wreath that's missing almost all the rhinestones. This one almost looks like it was rhodium plated. It's still shiny, despite how dirty it is. It's still shiny, and see how dirty the front looks? Yeah, I don't know. I think that one might be rhodium plated. Here's a fun old safety clip pin brooch. I don't know what's going on here. This one is something I could take and stick in the jewelry cleaner, the sonic cleaner. There's nothing. Actually, I take that back. This looks like leather. Like, this is old leather wrapped around it. In that case, I can't get it wet, but somehow I'm going to have to get it clean. So that one would be a challenge. I have to think about that one. The other ones are just some nice snowflake starburst type brooch. Doesn't look like it's missing any stones, so this one might be able to be cleaned up and resold. It's very thin, like you can bend it back. That piece is out of shape. So yeah, I might clean that one up. There's another one. This one looks like it's about ready to go. I just need to maybe take a damp paper towel and just wipe off the rhinestones, because it looked like one row of the white little beads were a little bit dirty, and it should be good to go. This one is a Judy Lee, and it is just terribly tarnished. Look at this cute little piece. Isn't that adorable? It's like a laurel wreath almost. And it has AB rhinestones. So this is from the 50s, 55 or old or newer. So I don't know why they let these go. It's terrible. Look at this cool little button brooch. It has the roll clasp on the back. Oh, and here's one more great piece, missing one little flower. This looks like a typical Miriam Haskell to me. Tell me what you think if you're a Miriam Haskell expert. But I would take a toothbrush to this. I'm going to dip it in water and just kind of lightly rub on these flowers to get them clean. I don't want to get it too wet. Yeah, he's sparkling now. Yeah, that brush is filthy. I'm gonna get my bird out of here and let him dry. Yeah, look at that one. Nice piece. What a shame. Look how dirty that still is. So I'm going to use a little bit more water on it. It's probably just dirty deep down in the grooves of it. I can't let too much water sit on it because it'll stay under them flowers and then ruin the whole piece. Yeah, there I go. Putting too much pressure on it. I put too much pressure on it and now I just ripped some of them out. Yeah, I've done ruined this piece. I'm actually glad that happened so I could show you what being rough to an old piece does. Yeah, it was missing this piece anyway. But I have several of them loose now. And that it's because that old threading in there will loosen up even more when you get it damp. So here's what the back looks like. That's what makes me believe it's Miriam Haskell, because every piece was strung on. And it has C-clasp. It was a great little piece until I totally ruined it. Yeah, I just broke probably the string underneath, and now they're all coming out. All right, I think I'm gonna call it quits right there and end this video, and I hope that this cleaning video helped you kind of figure out what to do and what not to do. And let me know what you think. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe and watch our Jewelry Chronicles videos. We do all different sorts of designers, and we talk about clips and different things, all different sorts of jewelry topics. You can join us in our group as well. So thanks for joining me, and we will see you on the next one.